In the second part of Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon, the Griffin only submits to the bearer of true royal blood. Just like in ancient legends about these fantastic animals. Wanderer, we are venturing into the realm where the half-lion and half-eagle dwell. The greatest literary masterpiece of the 12th century is the Alexander Romance. Its astonishing imagination and captivating portrayal of Alexander the Great's life keep readers hooked until the last page. Numerous authors have rewritten the story of his conquest of Asia and encounters with fantastic creatures along the way. Some of these treatises ended with an incredible version of the legendary king's death. It was said that a chariot descended from the sky, drawn by a team of griffins, and carried Alexander to paradise. Thus, he became immortal. However, there was another version of Alexander the Great's flight on griffins. The king decided to personally explore the entire world and first ascended into the ocean in a transparent barrel, then tamed the griffins and soared into the sky on them, controlling them with pieces of horse liver on the tip of a spear. He ascended so high that he heard a voice from the heavens telling him to return, or else he would perish. The famous king obeyed the magical voice. In mythology, griffins are contradictory creatures. These beasts unite heaven and earth, good and evil. They can act as defenders and as malicious, unrestrained monsters. The lion is the king of animals, and the eagle is the king of birds, which is why in the Middle Ages, griffins were considered the most powerful and majestic creatures. The first depictions of griffins appear in Mesopotamia in the 4th to 3rd millennium BC. However, they disappeared for a long time, only to reappear in the Achaemenid Empire, where griffins were considered protectors against evil, witchcraft, and secret slander. Griffin images dating to the 3rd millennium BC are also found in ancient Egypt. Next to the image of the Egyptian griffin, archaeologists often discover the inscription Tesh Tesh, which means terror in pieces. The same inscription is sometimes found next to Osiris, the god of the afterlife. But the true cult of griffins flourished on Crete in 1600 years BC. Cretan griffins are distinguished by the absence of wings. Instead, they have a mane made of sun rays. For this feature, they received a separate name, keythongs. In ancient Greece, griffins once again acquire wings. The semi-mythical poet Aristides, who, according to legend, traveled through modern-day China, Mongolia, and India, wrote that griffins lived there. However, the original works have not survived, and we only know about them from mentions by Herodotus. But it was Aristides who first mentioned that griffins build their nests of gold and lay eggs made of emerald to protect their offspring from snakes. Aristides also described how Apollo lived with the Hyperboreans, where he rode through the sky in a chariot drawn by a team of griffins. Therefore, griffin images can be found in ancient temples of Apollo. The Hyperborean, or northern, origin of the griffin myth is confirmed by Scythian gold that has reached us. Griffins tearing apart horses are a regular motif in Scythian artifacts. Griffins can also be found on medieval Russian temples. For example, on the wall of the Cathedral of St. Demetrius in Vladimir, built in the 12th century. Ancient myths about griffins were revived in medieval bestiaries, where they were called predatory beasts tearing people to pieces. Their habitat also changed, sometimes they were in the Hyperborean mountains, sometimes in Ethiopia. But this does not mean that griffins were not considered real in the Middle Ages. Evidence often literally lay in their own hands. For example, Charlemagne had a cup made from a griffin claw, which was actually made from a bull's horn. There is a version that belief in griffins is based on the found skeletons of Protoceratops and Ichthyosaurus. The first dinosaurs lived in Asia in the Cretaceous period, and many of their skeletons have been preserved in Mongolia and China. The second lived in what is now Europe during the Cretaceous period. Both species had huge curved beaks and moved on all fours. In the Middle Ages, griffins began to be actively used in heraldry. One of the most famous such coats of arms belongs to the Republic of Genoa. The Republic of Genoa existed for 800 years and had its own colonies from Corsica to Crimea until it was conquered by Napoleon. Griffins chained in chains can be seen on the coat of arms of Princess Diana, to which she returned after divorcing Prince Charles. Symbolically, like in the legend of Alexander the Great, Princess Diana tragically perished accompanied by griffins. Perhaps that's why she is still revered by many people around the world. That's all for today, Wanderer. However, the griffin is not the only fantastic animal we know from antiquity.